Patreon, going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or learn about me episodes once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore, currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed, where there will be the first episode of every season released there, so you can try that before you head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first 2 tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary, Man with 1,000 Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed, so you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/realityt times 2, and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it. Even if you are on other tier, if you are on tier 1 or the first tier and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/realityt times 2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. This episode is ad-free on the Patreon. So if you want to partake in that, you can head on over to patreon.com/realityt times 2. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we're going to be doing the first part of the reunion for Temptation Island. We're at the end, y'all. Yay. So let's just jump in. Let's just jump right into this. Just as a note at the top of this episode, the plan is for these to be in 2 parts. It's 2 separate episodes because this was in 2 parts. We'll see how it goes though. Maybe it'll end up being 1 part. I'll kind of make that decision towards once I get to the end of the first part. So let's get into it. What in the Lord was Scarlett wearing? I feel like she came in there wearing like knee to knee shorts. And she looks, I don't know, she looks very casual, but it's fine. Mikey is going in deep with Sydney as soon as they get in there. He's like, I'm going to enjoy this time with you for the short time that I have. Lord. So they're clearly not together. We find out, which I thought was kind of interesting, seeing as Cheyenne did not want to do the show, that Jack and Cheyenne were actually the alternate couple. They were not supposed to be here. So clearly the other people backed the fuck out and said, I ain't doing this shit. Or they broke up. They were, so they're not supposed to be on the show. But Sydney wanted to see if Mikey was as changed as he said he was. This was her motivation for going on the show. She explains when they hooked up, they broke it off, as we kind of know, and didn't talk for 2 years afterwards. That's a long time. Then he came back around after clearly his relationship with the ex broke off. And she thought, how can I trust him? But you still went to him. You asked those questions, but then you still went to him. He truly thought it was fake. Like, he thought like the show was fake. There's like, no fucking way. He's like, the shit's real, y'all. He said, I thought as long as I didn't cheat, all would be good. He'd be fine. So yeah, that was her motivation for one, because she obviously wanted to do the show. He wanted nothing to do with it. So that was their motivation for this. But again, I'm just like, you come on a show To test to see whether or not your boyfriend has changed, if you really have to question it to this extent to go on a show where your boyfriend's gonna get tempted, you had no business being together. Back to Jack. Alcohol was a clear problem for him, apparently. I didn't really notice. We don't know him like that. He said that he didn't think he would cheat, but then again, you add alcohol to the mix. Well, shit goes cray. For Kaylee and Submit, the show actually reached out to her to be a single because if we remember, they had broken up and then gotten back together. So clearly they see that she's a single person and they wanted her to come on as a single. Um, the week after they got back together, the show actually reached out for them to be a couple instead of her being a single. So that's kind of how that happened. And this is when we find out that Scarlett has actually done reality TV before. The show, you may ask, that she was on, Below Deck. I was like, oh, here are my worlds colliding. Now it was hard for me to figure, again, like I said, I remember a Scarlett. I vaguely remember her, and I couldn't quite pinpoint it though. But from what I could gather, and I could be totally wrong, please, anyone who actually knows for sure, please tell me which season she was on. But from what I can understand, she was on Below Deck Sailing because I saw a lot of like Glenn and Gary. So I'm like, okay, maybe this was what she was on. Um, so yeah, and I'm going to assume, I don't know if it was the last season of Sailing. I don't remember that was a season that she was on. Maybe it was. But then again, it doesn't really matter because that, as we know, with all the drama with Gary, that filming of that show was like 3-4 years ago. It took a while for us to get that show. So so yeah, it's been a while since because she looks really young, honestly. Not really, really young, but she looks different. She looks younger. So which could have made sense. It could have been like right before she met Cole, because they've been together for a little bit. So Kaylee and Sumit are still together. Scarlett and Cole are back together, y'all. So we'll get information about that. Sydney is focusing on her, and I guess she's not with Xavier. More on that later. We start with Kaylee and Sumit. They have not moved in together yet, like they said they were going to do, and y'all, they haven't gotten that dog yet either. But it's going to happen. Don't you worry. So let's kind of talk about the things that he said, you know, before I guess they were on the show. She says, I didn't want to hone in, but the show blew it up. They blew it up. Of course they blew it up. If you're going to talk about the fact that this man is talking about your body and he's body shaming you and shit, and he's saying all this horrible things about you to your face, yeah, you're going to hone in on that and they're going to blow it up. So Nick apparently got a DM from a guy named Chris who said that he and Kaylee's relationship on the show was the most intense and emotional experience of his life. Who the fuck is Chris? Chris, apparently, if I remember correctly, was the guy who cooked like one of the nights. We barely see anything about him. So when I hearing about Chris, I'm like, what emotional connection? We didn't see that. I'm kind of shocked we didn't see this. She says, I don't deny we had a connection. We were friends. It wasn't as deep as that, though. Damn. They also talked to Jasenia, and she said that her belief for the reason that Summit didn't continue pursuing her after their date was he felt that, or maybe he thought that he would have been tempted to take it further with her. He disagrees with that. Then again, we'll never know. He says that he wouldn't have gotten physical with anyone. So in terms of the psychopath comment, she said he was acting like a psychopath. He wasn't actually a psychopath. She says he would talk down on me. And for 8 episodes, I was talking down on him. And it's true, she was, and that's what I'm talking about, realization that, "Shit, that didn't look good." I don't think Scarlett ever comes to that realization. So, basically, that's it for them because they're together, they're happy, it's fine. Let's move on to Sydney and to Mikey. She says, "It was hard to see him emotional like that. It broke my heart." They got back together for about 4 days after filming, so she said, "Bye, Xavier." It went back to Mikey. It was going good, she says, but he was holding on to his experience on the island, which obviously isn't fair. You all did shit. Y'all said things. Mind you, her experience was very different than his, but you can't hold that against her. But he says that he's been on a therapy journey and it has helped him realize that he was projecting his insecurities on her. They were together for about 3 months after filming. She says that he was saying the clips were clipped and edited in a different way, which made her feel guilty in her connection with Xavier, like basically saying like, "Oh, they made you think I was doing all of these things," which, yeah, that's the premise of the show. They literally lay that out there and tell you that's exactly what they're doing. Um, so you take what you see and you go accordingly. She doesn't have to feel guilty about her connection with Xavier. She went as she saw. That's the whole point of this fucking show. So, yeah. She was like, "Okay, he's saying he's changed, so show me." He didn't really do that, though, and didn't keep that up for a long time. She feels like he took her for granted, which that is the definition of taking someone for granted. You do something for a little bit and you change for a little bit and then you go right back. That's taking someone for granted. He says that she was his first love above his mother, but he says they are better off as friends, which, maybe that is for the best. When it comes to Xavier, she wasn't ready to jump into another relationship just like that, although she literally left with him, only left the island with him. She said she had to process. Mikey, so okay, there we go. I'm confused what I was saying here. Mikey and Xavier actually have a mutual connection. Apparently, Xavier grew up with one of Mikey's friends. So he's like, he has to be good people. Um, so Mikey was upset that he punched a hole in a wall. Like that's how upset he was. He he ruined the villa because of, I guess, everything he was saying with Sydney. Then we get into him being a big personality. And he says, "I never wanted her to feel small. I hyped her up," which I'm sure, her saying, "Oh, I had to shrink that's your problem. Unless he's making you feel like you're inferior," which I never got that from him. That's you. That's not him. Him being a big personality, you're guilting him in thinking that that's bad. And that's not on him. And I don't think that was fair. Um, so I definitely believe him when he says, like, I would hype her up. With her business, her new place, I helped. And she's like, "I'm sorry, wait, what? No, you didn't. You sat on the couch watching Netflix while I was doing what I was doing. I built my dresser while you were on your phone. The bar cart, the bar cart. The only time I've ever seen a bar cart was on Golden Girls, but apparently that exists. So a bar cart she did. She said that there for months before the show even happened. He never did that. We're just shaming him left and right at this point. Poor guy. When it comes to his comment about shooting his shot with India, which clearly he did not do, um, he says, "I was asked a question. I answered the question." Essentially, he's trying to say that they asked me, "Would you go after India if you had the chance? Or one of your three amigas? And he basically is like, "Yeah, like I would shoot my shot with India." They clipped him, which again, that's the show. He doesn't believe he deserves another chance with her. Sydney did reach out to Xavier to grab a coffee, and he was still so understanding with her. I mean, I do think Xavier's a good guy. I just hope he's not love bombing. That's it. That's all I ask. Then we have a video from Xavier that apparently um, they asked from for this, and you're thinking, oh my God, what's he gonna say? Is he gonna ask her? I was gonna say, do you want to go on a date? What's he gonna say? Well, y'all, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to wait to find out because I was in part 2. And because I only talked about this for 13 minutes, we will take a break here and then we will jump in with part 2 of the reunion. Hi, everyone. So, I have a new product for you to take part in. This is for J Armor wallets. Now, you can get these wallets for a pretty good price. Partially, it seems at this point, partially American made, but they're going to be planning to be completely American made by the year 2027. The fun part is that you can actually see what new wallet styles are going to be coming in 2026. So a little bit about the company. The company was founded by Jake Hernandez, who is also a part of the U.S. Air Force veteran, or he is a U.S. Air Force veteran. So with his business, he is also supporting charities like anti-child labor organizations, veteran support programs, and efforts to rebuild American manufacturing. So this is clearly something that is very important to him, and honestly, really important to me as well. And for going to the link in the show notes, which I will say what that link is in a minute, but going to the link in the show notes not only helps support this podcast, but is also helping to support J Armor as well as helping support the charities that he finds near and dear to him. So if you go to the show notes and you find that link, the link is jarmorwallets.com/reality times 2. So that is j-armorwallets.com/REALITEATIMESTWO. So I hope you go on and support not only me, but as well as this company. Now, that's enough of me. Let's go back to the episode. And I'm back. Okay, let's go into part 2. So we left off about this video that apparently Xavier did. It's a nothing burger. Who gives a shit? He's basically saying he's thinking about her, be yourself, and I'm rooting for you. That's it. Wasting my time. So there is a chance there is something there with him, is there something going on there with Xavier? She says it's possible. They just need to take some time outside of the villa, away from the cameras, to see if that's even a possibility for them. Now, let's get to the fun part, y'all. We move on to Cheyenne and Jack. So they talked when they got home to talk about stuff. They were on separate flights, and apparently he waited or didn't wait. I don't remember. But he stayed with Carter, and she was with Preston. Like, they stayed in Hawaii with the people they got involved with. But apparently they were apparently in separate hotels for maybe their safety. Cheyenne went to his hotel when she was not supposed to. She caused a scene at the hotel, banged on doors. Mikey, he's like hearing this and he's like, wait a minute, is it that time? Because apparently Mikey was actually on a FaceTime when all of this happened, so he heard a lot of this. So Mikey asks, what was your intention of going over there and having a conversation with him? Like what was the end goal with this? You know what I mean? And she's like, to talk. No, it wasn't to talk. She wanted to start problems. So what did you say? Like, what did you know what I mean? Like, what happened? And she said, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's what she wanted to say, y'all. That's a text. He says, in the moment, I wanted to avoid it. The people who worked the show were gone. The guys were gone. But yeah, he likes to push her buttons. He knows how to. Toxic. So when you did talk, like, how did that go? And she says, I wanted us to divulge everything that we did. He apparently opened up about things that didn't even air. So he did more shit that we don't even know about. She told him, get your shit and get the fuck out. They really didn't have a productive conversation until about a month later. So what physical boundaries were crossed? All of them? My girl was having sex with Preston. What do you mean? All of them? Um, so he kissed everyone in the house, apparently. Jesus Christ. He did have sex with Carter. Jasenia, he says it had a crash out, nothing else happened. It was literally they made out, that's it. And he face planted while going into Temptation Haven. Cole apparently would put him to bed and then he would be gone. He would get up because he's abducted, y'all. In a Jersey Shore terms, he was abducted. He was taken. He's drunk. He got so bad with alcohol that he got the whole house cut off for 4 days. Take that into perspective. This guy was so bad that they literally had to take all of the alcohol out of the house for 4 days. That is some shit. And people were pissed. And she asked him, please do not get fucked up at the house. Like, she apparently told him this. Cheyenne told him this. So clearly she knows, like, this is a pattern of his. When asked, why did you drink so much? He's like, I hated it there. It wasn't his idea to even, oh no, wait. It was his idea to be there. He's the one that brought her there. But he hated it there. Interesting. So he did it to cope, which is not great. She does say she regrets her actions, but she was not going to let him play her. Not this time. Not on TV. Now that cheating situation with Preston. She kissed some guy and admitted, or no, sorry, not with Preston. This was before. She apparently kissed some guy and admitted it. She says it followed an argument that was very, very bad between her and Jack, which is not right. Just because you have an argument with your partner does not mean you go out there and kiss some other guy. They stayed together, but from then it was when he became a piece of shit, apparently, because he's mad about it. Why stay? So when did he cheat and compare, like, when did it happen after her situation? And she says it was a few months later. So clearly he was, like, retaliating, but my guy took it all the way. She says, because it was his idea to come on the show, I didn't want my stuff coming up. So you broke that boundary. So let me get this straight. You wanted to come on the show not saying everything because it was his idea. So let's air his dirty laundry, but we're not going to air your dirty laundry. So we don't have the full picture as a viewer. So I personally think you never should have been on the show in the first place if you're going to come on here and give people the false idea and thinking Jack is the only one who fucked up in this relationship when he's not the only one who fucked up in this relationship. And I'm not saying that it's right, but I've been there and I've done this too. You cheated and he retaliated. I've done it. I've been cheated on and I retaliated. And that's what happened. And we're not getting that full picture. So I'm happy Jack said it. It's bullshit. So did you come on the show to blow the relationship up, Jack? He says no, but does say that I don't think we wanted to be with each other, so blow it up. She says, no, I was all in. I was all in. I'm sure. Yeah, and I mean, you know what? I'm sure she was definitely all in. I don't think he was. But Submit says, the first bonfire was you talking shit. And we were like, why were you with someone who clearly doesn't appear to like you or respect you? And I think that's a fair question. they regret now putting their 2 cents into it. I don't think they should. I really don't. I don't think they should. I get he has a lot of work to do, but how do you do that work when the one person who's supposed to be your partner and everything is talking you down? How do you do that? When we get to Preston, him being so cool about it, Cheyenne thinks he was just saving face. Of course he was. The men were mad for him, blah, blah, blah. What's interesting is it's like Cheyenne wanted these guys to hold him accountable or make him like or make him or want him to stop or something like that while they were there. And it's like, that's not their responsibility. They have their own journey here. Their journey is not to babysit Jack and make sure that he's doing what he shouldn't be doing. You know what I mean? It's not up to them. They said that they did the best they could, but again, it's like, this is not their, it's not up to them. He's a grown-ass man. He's responsible for himself. She questions why he would talk down himself because he never did that before. They're basically like talking down on himself. I don't think that he may not have done it before, but doesn't mean anything. It could have been this situation really brought that out of him, and maybe that's something he internalizes already. You don't know. And instead of being like, well, you don't do that, you've never done that before, hear him, listen to him, do with it as you need to. Believe what's in front of you. She's shitty. He says it was the house. When he says he has been trying to better himself after the relationship. And she says, but you've been getting fucked up. Again, who gives a fuck? He's not your problem anymore. Apparently, these lines are blurred, okay? Let me tell you. She's like, I'm texting you and asking if you went running. I'm sorry, the fuck? You said I can smoke weed whenever I want, which he can. He's like, yeah, because you aren't together. That's what I said. She just wants him to be the best version of himself, not your fucking problem anymore. You guys aren't together. Which I get, you care for him, but there comes a time where you're gonna be like, I can't be involved in this anymore. It's hurting me more than it's hurting him. Whatever. But in the relationship, you never pushed me. Um, I don't know who said that, if she said that or he said that, whatever. He says, you're right. Or no, she said that. He says, you're right. I took you for granted. When they ask her what she loves about him, he starts crying, sorry. And she does go over to hug him because I do think he loves her. I do think he cares for her. And we learn a lot about him in this. It gives things a lot of perspective. And he hugs her while sitting down like a little boy. Then he'll get up. It's adorable. And he says what he is feeling is regret. And this is where we learn something about him that puts a lot of things into perspective. Y'all, he was adopted. It just gives so much perspective to this. And she says, I think it's hard for him to accept the love from others. He feels unwanted. Oh, I feel for him. It gives me just a new light on him. I wish truly, I wish the best for him. We move on to Scarlett and Cole. So when they got back, he left the house for a bit because remember they were living together. But they decided to get back together and do the work. When they were just talking, he went to Hawaii, like before they were on the show. He went to Hawaii with some girl he used to talk to. He used to talk to, and she apparently was one of the people that were there. He lied that they shared a room and that they had hooked up. They were not together at all. Let's make that a point. And there was a point where they were not together, and he lied about having sex with other people. Again, they were not together. He felt like he didn't owe her, which I get it. I don't think, unless you guys had an explicit conversation, because again, I've been here, unless you guys had an explicit conversation about, I want to know what you're doing, he doesn't owe you that. And at the end of the day, even if you have that conversation and he doesn't feel comfortable telling you these things, that's okay too. I think that's fair. But Nick says, if you're together, like, if you're not together, like, why lie? It's a good question, but I mean, yes, it's lying, but why ask the questions? I guess is what he's trying to understand. So yeah, and Nick continues to say like she wasn't your girlfriend, just be honest with her. And he says that she was seeing other people. Yeah, she was telling him that she was seeing other people, but like I wasn't asking like, oh, are you hooking up or this or that? Like she was offering the information. He was not asking for it. Nick says, so why did you get back together then? Like, has he lied since the show? She says, well, not at the same level. Like he admits he has, but they are not going to get into it now. They do not want to talk about what he's been lying about. It's not a big deal, they say, but they don't want to talk about it. That's weird. That's weird. And they really push to get it out of them because it's like, if it's not that bad, then just say it. They refuse. And I guess that's a point, honestly, where I'm just like, okay, y'all stop asking them. They're not going to tell you. Anyway, they are in individual therapy. Good for them. When it comes to taking multiple dates while on the show, she said, I was having great conversations with Bradley. I did take Clint on a date and it was surface with him. Third date, she was going to take someone else, but production actually like went to her and said, listen, what's the point of taking somebody else? You're clearly connecting with Bradley, so just take him. So then we talk about her saying, oh, masculinity, the difference between masculinity and masculine energy. Because if you remember, I mentioned she's going to defend this. Here we go. She says it's two different things. The average person would not know the difference, but she says it's about staying strong in who you are and staying firm in it. I must ask, why does that exclusively mean masculine energy? Why I can be strong in myself and stay firm in what I want and what I expect. Does that mean I have a masculine energy? No, it just means I'm a strong fucking bitch. You're not helping your cause here with what you were saying. Sorry about it. Then the journal. He regrets reading it. He shouldn't have done it. He explained he was just all messed up in the head about things, and so that's why he did it. He has not read her journal since. He's learned a lesson. Now, he's been very transparent, and she can definitely see the future with him. Then they try again to get the answer about like what he's been lying about. This is when they try again. And he says he saw this girl at the bar. So they do get it out of him. They saw the girl at the bar, who he used to hook up with before he was with her. And he said like, hey, like, what's up? Like, he's not going to be rude. He's going to acknowledge that she's in the room, but it's nothing more than that. Then at 3 o'clock in the morning, he gets a text from this girl, that same girl saying, it was really nice seeing you. And he was like, the fuck? Like, why are you texting me? It's basically what he's thinking. And it was weird. So, he just did the one thing he thought and he deleted the message. I see no problem. But unfortunately, his girl sees a problem. So then she saw the message in his deleted and thought it was sketchy as to why he was doing that. But my thing is, I don't know how iPhones work. Maybe it was an iPhone, or maybe not even an iPhone, doesn't matter. But my thing is like, did you see messages from him that he deleted as well? Like, do you see those? Because if you didn't see those, then where's the sketchiness? That same girl messaged him on socials as well, and he blocked her there. So, like, this girl was pursuing him. Like, what the fuck? Get the hint. But we are making a big deal out of this. Personally, I don't think this is a big deal at all. I don't think he did anything wrong. Yeah, I mean, he didn't give her the energy. He's like, stop texting me, stop messaging me. I'm doing the one thing that I'm thinking from my own thing. I don't think he was thinking, oh, I need to hide this from Scarlett. I don't think he did anything wrong. This girl needs a grip. But anyways, y'all, that's part 2. That's the reunion. If you want to watch it, you can head on over to YouTube, type in Temptation Island Season 2 Reunion. It's there, both parts. The first part is about an hour and a half. The second part's almost 2 hours, because of course it is. And yeah, so that's there for you. Of course, if you want to just listen to it, probably get it on any of the podcast apps where the Viall files are available. And yeah, I mean, that's it, y'all. Um, yeah, that's it for Temptation Island season 2. This was fun. I will say the first season was better. But anyways, we're moving on to another show now. We're going to be heading on to Love Overboard. I'm so excited to finally start talking about the show. It's so good. Um, so yeah, we're talking about that there. You will also be getting an episode for the B90 um tell all. It will be one episode. The plan is to have Letitia on that. She's been a while since she's been on the show. So we're gonna have her on to talk about these freaking people. That's the plan. So we won't be recording that until Thursday. I might have that out to you by Friday if we actually do record on Thursday. If not, then it won't be until the following week, but I will keep you posted on that. Otherwise, that is it for me, y'all. Look out for Love Overboard. That'll be coming soon. Um, until then, y'all, that is it for me. That's it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, bear with me because I have not done an outro for the podcast in quite some time. So bear with me here. So if you liked what you heard, you can go to any of your favorite podcast apps. You can follow, make sure you don't miss a single episode. And you can also rate the podcast at either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It'd be greatly appreciated. As a reminder, any 5-star ratings that are given to the podcast or any comments that are given to the podcast will be read on the podcast, which I have done in the past. If you want to connect with the podcast through social media, you can find me at Facebook and Instagram at Reality T times 2. You can also find me at Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Reality times 2 pod. I believe you can email me at realityt times 2 at hotmail.com, and you can have any inquiries, anything like that, any ideas, any shows or episodes you want me to cover, you can definitely do that over there. And I am going back to our old website, and that is at solo.to/reality t times 2. There you can get any of the links to anything that I didn't mention here, any of the socials, website, email, all of that. It's all there for you. And we also have a new thing there where you can help support the podcast as well. It's called a tip jar. And you could tip whatever your heart's desire if you want to support the podcast, but don't want to necessarily support the podcast in going to Patreon, for example, or any of the links in any of the advertisements. You can do it there. But since we're on the topic of Patreon, you can head on over to patreon.com/reality t times 2, where there you can get access to even more than what I do here. There are 3 different tiers where you can get these shows ad free, as well as our next tier up where you would get another reality show that's being covered. So, we have Jersey Shore that's been getting covered. That's still being covered currently at the time of recording of this outro, but the future is bright with what's to come in the future, which I will be discussing, or I have discussed. I don't even know. And then also our next tier is a true crime tier as well. So you can definitely head over for that. But that is basically it. I will also just quickly mention here too, if you're interested in a different take of a podcast that I'm a part of, where we do things a little differently, you can head on over to Next Take Podcast, where I usually drop bonus episodes here on this feed, but there you get a lot more. And that podcast is making changes. We're growing, doing new things, but you can definitely head on over there if you want to just hear a little bit different than what I do over here. So you can find that podcast over at our website, solo.to/next take podcast. And there we'll have all the links to your desire that will link you to any of your favorite podcast apps or YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of it. Social medias, it's all over there. But of course, you can still find that podcast at any of your favorite podcast apps. But that is it for this episode. We'll see you next time with another episode. Bye, everybody.